Now we're going to look at a smart trade or input from the community at Global Trader. And today we've asked Max Kane-Berman from the Validea group to come in and explain. Max, Validea is like a value-added service within the Global Trader community. Just give us an overview of what it is at core and then take us through how you use it.
Thanks, Paul. Paul, investing can sometimes be quite intimidating for the man on the street, for you and I. And the old paradigm was that, leave it to the geniuses, leave it to the actuaries. Yeah. They know what they're doing, the guy on the street.
But they don't.
Often that's the case, isn't it? So this was the idea with Validea, is to bring investing to everyone, to you and I.
Empower the guys.
To empower everyone, to bring information to you. The next thing then is there are 500 odd stocks on the JSE. Where do you start?
Yeah, how do you know whether, Brainware or Bidvest or Billiton is the one to do?
And if you're just a beginner investor, it's a quagmire of information and you just run away from that. You turn tail. But the idea with this is to give you more information, help you along with your trading or your investing, the long-term investing. And also, evidence has shown that if you choose a strategy and you stick with it, that'll be better in the long term than getting emotionally attached to the market's upswings.
Or getting arbitrary tips from your friend who has a panel beating friend that heard from a customer that something was hot.
Yeah,
so some kind of system which makes sense where you're consistent. So in this case, we've got this database invented by Americans which takes the local market input and helps you work out a strategy and recommend buys within that strategy.
Exactly. So you've got the best investors in the US, or in the world, in fact, and we've taken their strategies and we've put them into the JSE. So now if you want to know which companies Warren Buffett would, so to speak, recommend on the JSE, this is where you can find it.
So what the software does is it's kind of worked out what would Warren Buffett do, what would be Warren Buffett type opportunities, using some kind of algorithm which identifies from his kind of way of
investment strategy,
his strategy that he's sort of spoken about over the years.
Exactly, that's it.
Fabulous.
For example, who I like to follow is Benjamin Graham, the father of value investing.
Okay.
If you go to the next slide.
So Benjamin Graham was an old dude, he's dead now, right? But he was one of the guys that first wrote about how to analyze stocks, and he was the sort of father of value investing.
Father of value investing. He taught Warren Buffett how to invest. Another guy there, John Neff, he showed them the way.
Okay.
And for me, his strategy is quite approachable, and it's quite easy to follow. I mean, you can choose any strategy, but I think the question is,
and does the site explain, what the core elements of the strategy are?
They do. So you can go into any strategy. It'll give you a rundown of what the strategy is about.
Because I'm assuming, different people, different personalities, you're going to find one or other more appealing as you look at the different descriptions.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So the idea is to go and have a look at them, get familiar a bit with them and choose one and stick with that.
Because a key issue, for example, would be pain threshold. I mean, some people are very relaxed, calm personality. They can live through ups and downs. Others, have a much shorter sort of attention span. And so they need to work out what works with them in a sense. Okay.
Exactly.
So they take it, but those approaches or whatever they are, then they take a local data feed, right, in order to work out these things here.
A daily data feed. So, for example, this is Ben Graham's strategy.
Right.
And which companies, the 10 companies that would fit into his strategy.
So these would be companies that have been moving in a way which Buffett would have found interesting if he was living here and monitoring our market. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's a starting point for you to then go and say, okay, Bowler Metcalf, I went to their AGM last year because my strategy said that's a share to invest in.
Right.
Investigate the company and see if you want to buy into that.
Good case in point, because it's a fairly low-profile Cape Town-based company that manufactures plastics and enclosures, but it's been a very long-standing, solid performer with good, strong cash flows, very low understated management, not necessarily a sexy sector of the economy, but that's the hallmark of the sort of stuff that Buffett often looks for.
Exactly, the ugly sister, not the one that's jumping out of her pants. But so that's what we're looking at.
Okay. So this would then also show you how the portfolio has done since you guys have been implementing this system, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
and then there's one final slide. Let's change up to that. What's this about?
So another aspect of the program is if you're reading the newspaper or something, or you're interested in a company, you can put the company through the program to see what the investors, what the gurus think of that company.
So when you say pass, that would indicate that this particular share is moving in a way which would be recommended by the strategy lens. Yeah.
I've put Sassel into this one, for example,
right.
and there's the rating from all of the gurus.
Okay.
Benjamin Graham rates it the highest,
okay.
and that showed us why. And it'll give you more detail as to why it passes each of these sectors here in the strategy.
Okay, so this particular system, how does one access it? If people are interested in this, how would they do it? Would they go to validea.co.za?
Perfect.
And important to go to the .co.za site because the .com site would give you the sort of international stuff.
You can go to .com and then you go to the American one.
Yeah.
It's open in Canada as well. But if you go to .com, there will be a click in to come to South Africa.
Yes.
So validea.co.za or validea.com.
Okay, and how much does it cost?
It's 150 Rand a month.
Okay.
For that information.
So people then can become subscribers, and then that would sort of fit in also with their global trader stuff if they're doing that as well.
Yes, that's
excellent. Good. That's fantastic. Let's move on from that. Now, we like to put our money where our mouth is. So let's check in and see how those trades of ours have been doing over the last couple of days, and also the trades that we've been doing since we started this whole project back in the 1st of November. Right, as I explained before, the Hot Stocks account is for real. We're one of the few TV shows that actually does this. People spout on and on about what stocks are hot and which are the ones you ought to buy and discuss the news of the day. What we actually do is, arising out of each and every show, we get that hot stock trade, we publish it, we go into the market and we purchase that in the account. So currently we've got a couple of things going on here. I've shown what are currently the stocks we're making good gains on. Max, the obvious thing to observe here is it's fairly small kind of positions, but we have 100,000 Rand is what we started with. So instead of going too aggressively into the whole thing, we're keeping things fairly modest. Yeah. And we're trying to take positions which accord with my style, similar to what you were saying with Validea. My own style is definitely towards the long side because I'm an optimist, but I'm also not someone who really likes kind of day trading. So my idea was to try and keep things for a little longer. So irrespective of the movings up and down, currently you can see we're doing exceptionally well on a position this week. We're having famous brands. I don't know what's going on there, but we got in at 70 Rand a share. Literally in the last few days, it's been
pumped up,
pumping higher on big volumes.
People must be eating lots of burgers or what's going on.
Either that or maybe there's an institutional investor that's buying stock from the Holomandaris founding family or something. But either way, it's looking good there. And we're also doing well on a trade in Hoskin and Discovery and a couple of others. Let's move on and look at our losers, though. Always important to keep things real.
Perspective.
This is our most unsuccessful trade at the moment, and that's Grindrod. And interestingly, it's because Daniel Isaacs and myself, a couple of months ago decided we thought that the December results could be a bit shoddy. In fact, the trading update from Grindrod came through and indicated that it looks like it's better than was going to be expected. So where the market was looking for a Rand 7, a Rand 10, it looks like it's going to be about a Rand 20. So we've got to decide what we do there. My sense is that even so, the valuation's a little high, but we're going to keep a close watch on that. And then just finally, to summarize with the last slide, the account value at the moment is 118,393. So we've got a gain of about 18%
Not bad.
Over 3 months or so, which is really better than I expected. To put that in perspective, though, the overall market's been up 10%.
That's true.
So you would expect to see, with our long bias, a slightly better than that gain. So it's important. We've got to be honest and keep things real because we've benefited from a rising tide. The other thing to note is that Global Trader gave us a 4,000 Rand sign-up bonus, which is what all new accounts at Global Trader get as long as they've got a certain size and have been active. So that's helped pump up our returns. If it wasn't for that, we'd have a 14 or 15% return.